Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some Battlefield 4 in this week's episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I do my best to go ahead and answer them. This first gameplay I am super proud of. I like this gameplay a whole lot. Like, it's a very nice gameplay. I hope you guys all enjoy it. There is lots upon lots of kills, playing a bit of domination using that new Bulldog rifle that we got with the new DLC that came out, actually the Dragon Seed DLC. So it's a very good gun. I actually like it a lot. I run Assault most of the time when I'm playing Battlefield, and this gun just suits me pretty well, and I do pretty freaking well because of it. So hopefully you guys all enjoy that. But this is Dear Nero. It's not about the gameplay, it's about the questions, and we're going to hop into the first question here where he's going to write, Dear Nero, what are your thoughts on Brian Hoyer being picked for the starting quarterback job in Cleveland over Johnny Football? Have a great day, Tony from Michigan. So a guy up in Michigan is wondering about what's happening down in Ohio, because I know Ohio and Michigan have a pretty big rivalry. Alright, so my thoughts on Brian Hoyer being picked as the starting quarterback for the Browns over Johnny Manziel. I think it's a bad move. And here's the reason I think it's a bad move. I'm not one of those people that just blindly goes, Johnny Football is the greatest player in the world, right? I'm not one of those people, but I am one of those people that sees Brian Hoyer as a 28, 29. He's between 27 and 29. I'm not sure about his exact age. He played college football at Michigan State. He wasn't very good. He's been a backup like his whole career in the NFL. And just recently, he had a few good games, like 2 or 3 decent games last season before getting hurt. For the Browns, and because of that, because of those 2 or 3 games, everyone's like, oh my goodness, he's like the savior in Cleveland, we need to start him right away, he's gonna be so amazing. It's like, why do you do that? Because this is a quarterback that's been a backup his whole career. He didn't have a stellar college career. There's nothing really exceptional about Brian Hoyer. He's a game manager, something similar to what Alex Smith is down in Kansas City. You're not gonna see Alex Smith throwing for 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns ever. You're not gonna see Alex Smith ever getting MVP or quarterback of the year or anything like that. He's just there to manage the game and not screw up, and that's what Brian Hoyer is. He's not that great. He's really not that great of a quarterback, and the Browns are doing what they've always seemed to have done, is just make bad decisions. They're like, let's start him over probably the most anticipated, the most hyped quarterback in... There hasn't been this much hype around a quarterback coming out of college into the NFL since, I'm going to say, like, back when Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, they were sitting there drafting between the two of them. You had to really make a decision. Indianapolis made a decision to go with Peyton Manning over Ryan Leaf, and that was a good decision on their part, obviously. I don't think there's been this much, controversy and people talking about first-round draft pick quarterbacks like this ever since then. I think it's pretty awesome that Johnny Manziel came into the league. I think it's awesome that the Browns end up getting him, because it's not usual the Browns actually get someone cool. But they're taking on this approach of, you need to calm down. You're not bigger than this team. We're the Cleveland Browns. We're a storied franchise. The Cleveland Browns aren't shit. I'll say that first and foremost. They're not shit. I'll say that as a Browns fan. It's been a Browns fan for quite a long time now. The Browns aren't shit, and for them to act like they should embrace the whole Johnny Football thing. For one, it's selling jerseys. For two, it's going to put butts in the seats. And 3, he's actually a damn good quarterback. There's a reason why there's a bunch of hype around him. Of course, you're not just going to jump into the NFL and be amazing. Going back to Peyton Manning, like we just talked about, Peyton Manning went 3-13. His first season in the NFL. 3-13. That's an awful record. Horrible, atrocious record. But they still allowed him to start all 16 games. And they started him the next season as well. What did he do the next season? He went 13-3. It's because they gave him time to learn. They just threw him right into the wolves. He took a bunch of hits. He took a bunch of beatings. He really got to learn from all his mistakes. And now look at Peyton Manning. He's one of, if not the best quarterback in NFL history. So I think they should have started Manziel. Just throw him to the wolves. Who cares? The Browns go 2-14 this year with him starting. It's not like we're not used to it. And then next year, he's going to have a full year of experience under his belt. He would have played in all 16 games. And he would actually know what he's doing next year. And then maybe he can be a really great quarterback next year. It's better than starting Brian Hoyer. That's my opinion on that. But I don't want to go on too long with that, even though I definitely could. Brian Hoyer is starting. Hopefully Manziel will get his shot somewhere later on in the season. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, I was wondering what would be the best way to get Call of Duty Advanced Warfare early. Where should I start looking, and how much should I expect to spend? Thanks, Vince. So Vince, the best way to find Call of Duty Advanced Warfare early, I think you can do this for just about most games, but I don't really care too much about most other games to really care about getting them early. I definitely like to try and get the new Call of Duty game every year because, of course, YouTube. And I try and be... It's great if you're a YouTuber to get the game early because you spend a lot of extra money to get it, but you have to, like a week or so to be able to put into the game before it's even out. So on day one, when you're actually allowed to put videos up, they're actually good videos aside from just first impression stuff, So I definitely like doing that. Where to find them? Basically, you're gonna find them on Craigslist. You're gonna try and find somewhere to buy it locally. You can try and find it on places like eBay. You can try and find them on there. Make sure you're always looking for pictures of them actually holding the game. And it's not just a stock photo of the game. That's definitely a big deal. Another thing you can do is you can go to local mom and pop shops, which mom and pop shops are they're basically like stores that local people own. You think of any kind of local stores that might be around you. I live in a small town. Everything here is local with the exception of like Walmart, McDonald's, and stuff like that. But aside from that, like all the stores are local. There's no video game stores, but all the stores here are local. You need to find a store like that. They will usually, for the right amount of money, like you give them like an extra $100 or something like that, and they might break the street date on the game. I know I tried calling the guy up in Erie last year to get COD Ghost early, and I didn't end up getting it early. I tried to. He's like, oh, I can't break street dates and all this stuff. He was real nitpicky about that kind of stuff, but yeah, but you can actually find that pretty easily. I've heard stories from mom and pop shops, but basically what you need to do is find yourself the game online. You're gonna end up paying a lot of extra. Yes, how much you can expect to spend. You can expect to spend anywhere from $100 to $400 above sticker price. So if you think of the average Call of Duty game is $60, you can expect to spend $150, $160 on it, all the way up to $350, $360, even maybe up into the $500. I've never spent that much. I think the most I spent was $250. I think that was to get Call of Duty Ghost. But yeah, it's not cheap. It's definitely not cheap. If you're a YouTuber and you have a YouTube channel and you have a partner YouTube channel, you kind of look at it as a business expense. Because if you have a relatively big YouTube channel, you can probably make that money back pretty quickly with the videos that you're going to be able to make from having the game early, and you'll be able to make better videos as a result of that. So that can definitely be a good thing. But if you're a really small YouTube channel, and money's not exactly easy to come by, let's say you have a small YouTube channel, but you're also working a job outside of that, spending $250 on a game to get it early, and how long you have it early, it actually varies. You can get a week early, you can get 2 or 3 days early. Are you willing to spend $250 to get the game 3 days early? I guess that's each and every person's own situation, but yeah, that's the best way to do it, man. Just you have to find it online. It's usually the best way to do it. You can find it on eBay, find it on Craigslist, find it on any website where you can buy stuff. People will have it, people will be selling it, but it will be marked up considerably from the actual sticker price. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, what is your opinion on the death of Robin Williams? Joey from North Carolina. So Joey, Robin Williams, if you guys are watching this don't know, Robin Williams was a comedian known for many movies he's done, as well as recurring roles on television shows. And I'm not the biggest Robin Williams fan. I'm not a movie guy by any stretch of the imagination. I don't really watch a lot of television either, so I don't really know what I don't know. I'm just not a big Robin Williams fan. I'm not a big fan of really any actors, to be perfectly honest. But I'm aware of who Robin Williams was. And he's well known as a comedian. He's well known as being a funny person. And he actually hung himself after a long battle with depression and alcoholism. And there's a couple things. Okay, there's things I don't like, and there's actually, believe it or not, things I do like about this. So the thing I like that came from Robin Williams' death, I don't like the fact that he killed himself, but one of the things that happened as a result of it, I do like, is that Robin Williams is known as a funny person, and a lot of people are saying, look at Robin Williams. This is not someone you would picture to be depressed. This is not someone you would picture would ever want to kill themselves, yet ended up happening. And so the message is, if you are depressed, if you are suicidal, if you're having a rough time, to talk about it with your loved ones and to try and seek as much help as humanly possible. And that's something that I think is a really positive thing that came out of Robin Williams' suicide. The bad thing that came from Robin Williams' suicide is he's basically being glorified as a national hero for killing himself right now. And I definitely don't think that's a good thing. I think it's a thing. He killed himself. You should not revere him for killing himself. But what you should do is you look at the life that he had. That's definitely a cool thing. You look at all his work, and if you enjoyed his work, and that's great. You kind of remember his life, but you should not revere the fact that he killed himself. What I think I'm worried about, and I think what a lot of people are actually worried about as well, is that people are kind of looking at this like, wow, Robin Williams is getting so much attention. Everyone loves him because he killed himself. Maybe if I kill myself, then people will love me. And there are people out there that are on the verge of suicide, and I don't think that that's the message that they should be getting. The people that are out there that maybe are on the verge of suicide or going through a really rough patch in their lives, you should know, one, that it's going to get better. It is definitely going to get better. Don't think it's not going to get better. The worst thing, I get sometimes messages for Dear Nero like this, and I try to avoid answering them, because I really don't like to be involved in this kind of thing. Some people say, I'm really depressed, I'm having a hard time in school, my life is so rough right now. Here's the thing about high school, guys. It matters so little. It matters not at all. You can ask anyone that's outside of high school, that's actually been outside of high school more than a few weeks. It doesn't matter. The people I went to high school with, I don't even know where they are anymore. They don't know where I'm at anymore. I think I talked to maybe one person that I went to high school with, and that's like on like a 3 month basis. Like every 3 months, I might see this guy, and I'll say hey to him. Yeah, I don't talk to anyone I went to high school with, and nobody really does. It's not really a big thing. You act like high school is like this giant deal. It really, really isn't. Once you're out of high school, it's not a big deal. Of course, when you're in high school, it can seem like a big deal, but in reality, it isn't. Wherever it is you're going on with your life, it can and will get better. I think people are starting to lose the grasp on the fact that life is this precious thing that you don't get to redo unless you're my dad, because my dad was technically legally dead for I think a few minutes or so. Then the doctors were able to bring it back. So technically, I guess if legally my dad has lived twice, but most of us aren't going to be like that. Most of us are going to live once in our lives, and you should really take the gift of life and trying to enjoy it as much as humanly possible. For example, I love my life. There's nothing I would really want to change about my life. I love the fact that I'm able to do YouTube for a living. I have a bad sleep schedule. A lot of people know about my horrible sleep schedule. Sometimes videos go up really late, and that's because I didn't wake up till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the reason my sleep schedule is always bad, and it's been bad, like I correct it all the time, but then it always ends up getting worse again, is because I love my life so much that I don't want to sleep. I hate sleeping because it's just wasting time in my awesome life. That is where I'm at life. And if I compare my life now to where I was in ninth grade, that my life was awful then compared to now. I didn't like it. I was having a rough time with friends and with moving, and my parents ended up getting divorced, and we moved to a whole new town, and I had to meet all these new people, and some of these people didn't like me, and some of them did, but it was a big deal, right? When I was in like 9th or 10th grade, and it seemed like a giant deal. But then once I get out of high school, after you just kind of get past that, it's like, wow, that wasn't really a giant deal at all. It wasn't really a big deal at all. And I never had suicidal thoughts. Maybe I was depressed here and now and again, but I never had suicidal thoughts because I understand that life is something that should be held precious, and it's not something that you should just take for granted and say, I'm just going to kill myself. If you ever are on the verge of suicide, and you ever are so depressed, and then maybe suicide has become kind of a thought in your head, first of all, seek help. And second of all, before you seek help, I think you should really think about the fact that when you kill yourself, not only are you taking your own life, but you're potentially ruining the lives of everyone that is on this earth that you care about. You look at your mom, you look at your dad, your brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, anyone, friends, co-workers, children, anything, you're hurting all of them. That's what you're really doing when you kill yourself. That is the big takeaway. People aren't going to revere you as someone, as some kind of great person because you killed yourself. They're all going to pity you, and then you're going to ruin the lives of everyone that you've actually met. You look at your parents. What would your parents think if you killed yourself? Like, that is their child. They remember raising you. They remember you taking your first steps. They remember teaching you how to ride a bike. They remember all that stuff, and then now you're gone. You effectively removed yourself from their lives. That's not something you should ever want to do. Why would you intentionally want to hurt everyone that you love, plus end your own life? It doesn't make any sense. That does not make any sense. So the death of Robin Williams, I think one of the good things that came out of it is a lot of people are trying to spread awareness of depression and awareness of suicide, and they want everyone out there to possibly seek as much help as possible. But I think the bad thing of it is I don't think that you should ever think that you're going to be revered the same way Robin Williams was. Robin Williams was a person that did a lot of great things in his life, and he ended up hurting a lot of people in his life as a result. Right now, if you look at the media, everyone's like, oh, rest in peace, Robin Williams, we all love you, and they're holding eulogies, and they're doing all these crazy things for Robin Williams. That's not going to happen for you. Don't think it's going to happen for you. In reality, if you the person watching this video, were to kill yourself, one, you're ending your own life, which is something you should never want to do, and two, you are just ruining the lives of anyone you could possibly care about. That's an awful thing. Don't do that. It's a bad thing. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, and hopefully this one is not as dark and depressing as the Robin Williams question. I just got my driving permit, and I was wondering what was driving like for you when you first started? Cal from Ohio. So Cal, driving wasn't something that was really hard for me to get into. I don't know, maybe it's because I played a bunch of video games and I have good hand-eye coordination or something. I don't know. Driving came pretty easily to me. I was able to stay between the lines. A lot of people, I think, worry about that when they first start driving. The biggest thing for me while driving, and it's still a big thing to this day because I live in a small town, is parallel parking. I cannot parallel park to save my life. I actually failed my driver's test. What was it, 6 or 7 times? Something like, I kid you not, I failed it like 6 or 7 times because I would go there and then they'd like, oh, turn on your turn signals and put on your 4-ways and do all that stuff like they usually do at your driver's test, right? Then the first thing we could do before we even go out for the actual driving portion is do the parallel park. You have to pass the parallel park before you can even do the actual driving test itself. And I failed the parallel park every single time. I would practice it and I would be bad at it and I would barely be able to get it, and it was like a half-hour drive away to take on my driver's test, and I would fail every single time. Then I would drive a half hour back, and it was just so frustrating. It was ridiculous. But eventually, one time, I actually got inside the lines just enough that I passed the parallel park, and I passed the driving test no problem, because that's the easy part, right? And so, I don't know. I live in a small town where you don't need the parallel park, ever. There is, if not, usually half a block's worth of space for me to park in most situations. And if there is a situation where I should probably parallel park to get a close spot, I don't care. I'm not lazy. I will drive, like, I don't know, an extra block away, half a block away or something, and park there in a nice easy parking spot, and then just walk to wherever it is I'm going. It's not that big of a deal. I hate parallel parking. I'm not good at it. I'm still not good at it, and I will never be good at it. But yeah, when I first started driving, it wasn't really hard aside from parallel parking, which still plagues me to this day. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, do you think Advanced Warfare will have Spec Ops? Also, did you ever play Spec Ops in Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3? And this person did not leave his or her name. So, anonymous person did not leave his or her name. Do I think Advanced Warfare is going to have Spec Ops? I don't. I just don't think they're going to have Spec Ops. We look at that picture, and then you look at on the new custom controller. We've seen in the picture, everyone has seen the picture of the Advanced Warfare Xbox One controller. It's got the tally marks from zombies next to the D-pad, and a lot of people are looking at that, and they're like, oh man, that's definitely kind of a sign that it's going to be zombies. I think it could be zombies, or at least some kind of survival aspect game mode. I don't think the game is going to have two different things. Like you look at Modern Warfare, or you look at Call of Duty Ghosts, they don't have Extinction as well as Spec Ops. You look at Treyarch, they don't have zombies as well as Spec Ops. It's either Spec Ops is like the main thing, or it's not there at all. So I don't think Advanced Warfare is going to have Spec Ops after seeing that controller, which is really speculative. Is that a word? Did I make up a word? Is speculative a word? I don't know. I'm using it. But yeah, it's definitely speculation. But I don't think there's going to have Spec Ops. And did I play Spec Ops during Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3? I played all these Spec Ops in Modern Warfare 2. In fact, I beat all of them on Veteran, in fact, because Modern Warfare 2 is one of the handful of games that I've actually gotten all the achievements for and gotten all the gamer score for. So yeah, I went through beat everything on Veteran, even in the Spec Ops. So yeah, that was actually fun. I like the Spec Ops missions in Modern Warfare 2. In Modern Warfare 3, I don't remember the Spec Ops missions very much. Maybe I just didn't play them, but I definitely played them, but I didn't play them a ton in Modern Warfare 3. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, do you think after a while of playing Advanced Warfare, we will go back and play Call of Duty Ghosts because both games are practically different from each other? Sean from Ireland. That's an interesting one. Do you think if Advanced Warfare, maybe after a while playing Advanced Warfare, will players go back to Call of Duty Ghosts? I think they're going to, definitely. You look at every Call of Duty, people go back and play the old one because people don't like to play only one game for the most part. You know, you look at Call of Duty Ghosts, a lot of people, in fact, more people than actually are playing Call of Duty Ghosts, went back and played Black Ops 2. But you remember during Black Ops 2, people went back from that and went and played Modern Warfare 3 because they liked the Moabs. And back in Modern Warfare 3, people didn't like that game for whatever reason, then they went back and played Black Ops. Black Ops, people didn't like that because of bad hit detection, so they went back to Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2, people were tired of all the noob tubers, and they were tired of all the glitches, so they went back to Call of Duty 4 and World at War. You know, every single time, people go back to the game before, and I think it's going to be no different with Advanced Warfare, and I think it's especially relevant with Advanced Warfare because so many people are going to be playing this game, and it's going to be such a new experience that it could be something similar to what we had here with Ghost, where a lot of people don't like all the innovative changes, and they go back to the old game. That could be a possibility, something that happens, and people like to go back to the older Call of Duty game because it's easier. You know, all the hardcore players, for the most part, most of them, they played the newest Call of Duty. So, you know, you look at Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 is eons easier now than it was back before Call of Duty Ghosts came out, compared to when it was in its prime. You look at Call of Duty 4 now. Oh goodness gracious, the people that play that game are atrocious. Like, I don't think half of them have thumbs, to be perfectly honest. The older the Call of Duty gets, the worse the players go, because all the good players, they tend to be playing the newer games. So occasionally, of course, you're going to run into a good player on the older Call of Duties and stuff like that, but mostly you're going to find mostly bad players on the older stuff. So I think a lot of people are going to go back to Ghost. A lot of people are probably going to go back. You might see, actually, believe it or not, a spike in Chemstrike gameplays on people's YouTube channels after Advanced Warfare comes out. Even though this game's not in its prime, it's going to be a lot easier to get Chemstrikes because most of the good players are going to be playing Advanced Warfare. Yeah, people are definitely going to go back and play the old one. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, you mentioned a few episodes back that you prefer Treyarch to Infinity Ward. Was this because of Call of Duty Ghost, or did you think that Treyarch was better after Modern Warfare 3? Honestly, I think that Black Ops 2 was the best Call of Duty, and Modern Warfare 3 and Ghost were the worst. And this person did not leave his or her name. So I do think Treyarch is still better than Infinity Ward. And where my opinion is on Sledgehammer, I don't know, because we're about to see their first game ever, which is going to be coming up in November. I think Treyarch is better than Infinity Ward for a lot of reasons. And I've thought these reasons probably going back to Black Ops, the original Black Ops. Modern Warfare 2 was a very, very fun game, but it was not supported at all because of the giant falling out with Infinity Ward and the fact there were so many glitches in that game and the fact that they would eventually get patched, but they would be, you'd have to wait a few months to get these glitches patched. And there is still to this day one-man army in danger close. They refuse to go in and patch that, even though some Muslim people got upset because there was a frame in a bathroom on the map Favela. Infinity Ward immediately apologized and went in and did a hotfix and patched the frame, the picture frame in the bathroom on Favela. But while they were in there and actually working with the game, they wouldn't take the time to reduce explosive damage. They wouldn't do anything to alleviate the one-man army in danger close situation. For that was kind of a slap in the face to me, and I think all people that enjoy Modern Warfare 2 by Infinity Ward right there. I just don't think Infinity Ward's that great of a developer. I really don't. Call of Duty Ghosts for a lot of people is disappointment. For me, it's not my favorite game. It's not something I jump into. I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait to go play some Ghosts. It's not that kind of game for me. It's an alright game. It's definitely better than Modern Warfare 3. It's eons better than Modern Warfare 3, which Modern Warfare 3 was a game I just despise. I mean, I love World at War. I love Black Ops. I love Black Ops 2. And with Infinity Ward, Ghost and Modern Warfare 3, it's like, not a big fan, like a giant fan of either one of them, but Modern Warfare 2 was a great game, aside from all the problems, and COD 4 was one of, if not the best Call of Duty game ever, but those were the old Infinity Ward. The new Infinity Ward, the games that the current Infinity Ward staff has actually put together is Modern Warfare 3 and Ghost. The current Treyarch staff is the staff that put together World at War, Black Ops, and Black Ops 2. So if you're making an opinion on Treyarch versus Infinity Ward, keep that in mind. The Infinity Ward that you're looking at right now are the people that made Modern Warfare 3 and Ghost. They did not make COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. The Infinity Ward that made those was actually the people that are at Respawn Entertainment that made Titanfall. Right? All those people were the people that made those great games. And so, if you want to make your opinion, take your opinion of Modern Warfare 3 and Ghosts, and that is your opinion of Infinity Ward. Take your opinion of World at War, Black Ops, and Black Ops 2. That's your opinion of Treyarch. And I love the Black Ops and World at War games way more than I like Modern Warfare 3 and why I like Ghosts. So I definitely like Treyarch a lot more. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, if you lived in Pripyat at the time of the Chernobyl incident, what would you take with you? Love your videos, Austin from New York. So if you guys don't know, Chernobyl is it's a place in the Ukraine where basically they had nuclear fallout where the reactor kind of blew and it sent fallout all throughout the atmosphere in that area. And one of the biggest places was Pripyat, which was a town that was very, very close. I forget the exact of how close it was, but it was super affected by it. And it actually inspired a lot of things in the Modern Warfare series for Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2. More specifically, the map block from Call of Duty 4 is actually in the town of Pripyat, and a lot of the Call of Duty 4 campaign has to do a lot with the Chernobyl explosion, as well as Pripyat in the Ukraine. It's a big deal in those games. What would I do if I were a citizen of Pripyat? At the time when that happened, I would have done what everyone else would have done. That's the thing. That's all they could have done. So basically, when that happened, all the officers, all the officials, they were like, okay, we need to evacuate you guys. You guys will be able to return to your homes in 3 days tops and to just bring what is necessary. So I would bring what is necessary. If I had any medications, if I had anything like that, I would definitely go for that. Other than that, I would take like a change of clothes. Well, what they were told at the time was, hey, you guys, we need to get you guys out of here. It's not safe right now. You guys can probably return in about 3 days. Just make sure you take anything that is essential to you. And none of them ever ended up returning. They were never allowed to return. You actually go to Pripyat or look at pictures of Pripyat, all the buildings are still full of stuff because it's quite literally a ghost town at this point where everyone just left and no one was allowed to return. They lost all of their worldly possessions. They were all still there. And it's still, I think, you can go on tours. I really think that'd be a cool idea, but I don't want to go to Ukraine because, one, there's war there, and two, I don't want to fly because flying, I hate flying. I'm not a fan of flying at all. So, oh man, I would have done what everyone else there did, man. I would have taken my medication if I had any, which I don't. So if it were me, like me right now, just transport me back then, I would have taken a change of clothes because that's what everyone would have said. That's all you really could have done. Maybe you take some pictures or something, some stuff you can keep in like your wallet or something. But aside from that, I would have done what everyone else did. It's just an interesting piece of history. If you guys don't know too much about the Chernobyl accident as well as the town of Pripyat, you should definitely look up both of them. They're both really interesting. In fact, you can even go to the wiki and read stuff on there. They basically bridge everything for you. It's very easy to understand a lot of it, what happened. It was actually a really, really interesting piece of history. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, if you had the choice to alter something that is coming up in Advanced Warfare, what would it be and why? Hayden from Washington. So Hayden, the one thing I would change as of right now, there's not a ton of things I would like to change about Advanced Warfare because a lot of it looks really interesting and cool. The thing I would change is right now there's no dead silence in the game. So one, I would either put in dead silence, or two, I would make it so everyone's footsteps are completely silent and there's no way to be able to hear them. Because I've said in my video talking about dead silence in Advanced Warfare, it's a very bad system to have it that way. So I would definitely like to see dead silence either being added to the game or everyone's footsteps being so quiet that it's basically like having dead silence built in. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, have you ever thought about getting back into League of Legends again because I see that you've stopped? League is the sort of game that you have to get over a hump before you actually get it and start to understand it more. Sam from Wyoming. Sam, that's the exact reason I stopped playing League of Legends. I put, I don't know, probably 6 or so hours into League of Legends. Like, I didn't put a super amount of playtime in it, but it's the kind of game that I've heard from other people, which of course I never put this much time in. You have to put in like roughly 100 hours into League of Legends before you really begin to understand how to play that game. MOBA games just aren't my thing. They just really aren't. I don't understand a lot of it. There's a definite skill gap in that genre of game that you need to really try and get into. And the entire League of Legends, even the Dota community, is just a really, really toxic community of people. And so there's a ton of reasons. There's a lot of things getting in my way of getting into League of Legends or even getting into Dota or any other of the MOBA style games. It's just like there's a giant wall. One, there's a giant skill gap. Two, there's a very toxic community. And three, there's just a kind of a lack of an interest on my part of the entire genre. So for all those reasons, I'm never going to be really getting into the MOBA scene. Next and final question, he's going to write, Dear Nero, do you like the idea of the day zero for the release of Advanced Warfare, or do you think that Sledgehammer Games just want more people to pre-order? Thanks, Beth from the UK. So day zero, if you guys don't know, in Advanced Warfare, it's a pre-order bonus which will allow you to actually get the game a day early before the release. But here's the thing, if everyone pre-orders the game, then they all get access to day zero. So they're all gonna, it's not gonna really change the midnight release line. Everyone's gonna be there at midnight, but they're gonna be a day there at midnight the day before the game actually comes out. There's still gonna be that giant line. But the thing about what's kind of cool about day zero is that you get the game technically a day early. So everyone that didn't pre-order the game, you're gonna have the game a day before them, which I think there's gonna be a small number of people that didn't pre-order, but you're still gonna have the game before, a certain amount of people, however big that is, I don't know. You're gonna have the game before them, and everyone's gonna get double XP for that day. So not only are you getting the game 24 hours earlier, but you're gonna be able to play for roughly 24 hours if you don't sleep, and you're gonna have double XP. So you're gonna be able to jump up and be a super high level. So when the general public gets Advanced Warfare, you're gonna be a really high level, and you're gonna know the maps, and you're gonna know the guns. It's really kind of an advantage kind of a thing, and I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. They're actually giving you some real value for pre-ordering. There's a bunch of like you're getting a bunch of different guns and you're getting a bunch of customization stuff in Advanced Warfare for pre-ordering, and I like all that. I'm not a big fan of pre-ordering because I never really needed to. I've said many times I live in a very small town, and the only store really I have here is a Walmart. And anytime a new game comes out, I just go there at midnight and I can get the game. And usually there's not even a line. That's how small of a town I live in. It's fine. I think the biggest line I've ever seen was there's a group of maybe 10 of us or so, I think, for one of the Call of Duty releases. I think at the Madden release for Madden 25, I think there was 3 of us, and that was including me and my cousin. It was like us 3, us 2, and one other person. It's just, there's not lines for people, so I never pre-order anything. But for a lot of people, pre-ordering is like the only way that you can assure yourself a copy of something. So a lot of people like to take on pre-ordering, and I actually like the fact that with Advanced Warfare, they're giving you a lot more bonus for pre-ordering. They're giving you a lot more added stuff rather than just something silly. I remember the pre-order bonus for World at War was the M1A1 carbine, which was the final weapon you unlock in the game at level 65. The pre-order bonus allowed you to use that gun up until level 5, and then it goes away. So that was your bonus for pre-ordering the game and getting World of War early, was you got the M1A1 and you had like a special custom class for levels 1 through 5, because you guys in World of War, and I think most of the Call of Duty games, at like level 5, that's when you actually unlock create a class. No, level 4, no. Damn, which way is it? Is level 4 create a class and 5 the challenges, or is level 4 challenges and 5 is create a class? I don't remember. Regardless, up until level 5, you had a special class with the M1A1, and if you were a good player, you get to level 5 in one game. So it was really just a waste of a pre-order bonus. And you look at that bonus compared to now, like what you're getting with Advanced Warfare, I think it's definitely a cool thing. I think that's definitely an awesome thing. And yeah, good on Sledgehammer, good on Activision for this whole Day Zero thing, whoever's responsible for it, because it's I think it's a pretty good deal, to be perfectly honest. Well, that is this week's episode of Dear Nero. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. And if you guys, like I said, then your guys' questions for next week's episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube, and there you go. That's all you gotta do. Just you send the message, go to my YouTube channel, go to the About section, hit the Send Message button, then preferably, it's the easiest way to do this is write Dear Nero as like the first part of your sentence, like Dear Nero, and then put like a dash or something, and then followed up by your question. That way, when I'm going through all the messages, I can see which ones are specifically for Dear Nero, and I'll be sure to read through all of them, and then pick the ones I think that would be entertaining for the show, or ones I haven't answered a million times, and I'll try and add them onto next week's episode of Dear Nero, because that's usually how we do things around here. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.